Welcome back, everybody, to TEW, Total Extreme Wrestling 2020, with the Supreme Wrestling Federation. I'm Mike, and we're here booking. In last episode, we had our first pay-per-view, When Hell Freezes Over. I think it went pretty well. We lost some overness on some guys. We gained some on others. And we're going to continue to move that train forward with Supreme TV tonight. So here we go. So we got an incident. Let's see what it is. Chrissy Angel. Oh, she entertained the locker room by organizing a poker tournament. She has the irrepressible personality, is currently irritated. So she's irritated because she used to date two different guys on the roster, so she feels alienated because she used to date two different guys there, and now she feels like she has no friends. Anyway, we're going to go into the U.S. We're going to go to the Great Lakes, where I'm from, and we're going to go to Wisconsin Gardens because that's our best bet. Now, I'm not... Instead of the first couple shows I wanted to book and show you guys like all the minutia of booking it, I do think that's kind of boring because I'm just going to kind of be repeating myself over and over for future. But what we're going to do is I'm going to book the show. Maybe I'll time lapse it. Maybe I'll just cut to when the show's booked. And then as we're going through the show, I'll kind of explain what my thought process was with the show. Unless there's something important I need to distinguish while booking the show, but I don't think there will be. So here we go. Okay, I got my show ready here. We're going to start her off. First, we got our pre-show stuff. I just kind of threw these two in a match to see what happened. Not a bad match for a pre-show. A terrible pre-show match. Just trying to look for that tag team chemistry and also trying to get some more tag team experience for some of my tag teams. Robbie Wright sprained his ankle. Great. And then, dang, I was really hoping for the Brett Biggins, Robbie Retro, or Justin Sensitive, John Greed chemistry, but got nothing there. So now moving on to the actual show. Wow. Uh-oh. Jungle. Is this the save where Jungle Lord is going to be useful too? Him and Chris Caulfield have excellent chemistry teaming together, so I'm going to throw them into a tag team. We had Mainstream and Spencer Spade go over them to continue that storyline. Jungle Lord was off his game a little bit, but we still got a 70 out of it, so that's pretty good. Shame I didn't get chemistry between these two, but they didn't get anti-chemistry either, so that's great. Moving on. We have an angle where, in my head, the way it works is the Hawaiian Crush were out there celebrating. Fame and Money came out and said, hey, we want a rematch, and then the Awesomeness came out and we're like, hey, if anybody gets a tag team title shot, it's us. And then same with the Stars and Stripes. What is their fucking name? I don't remember their tag team name, but Maddie Faith and Mass Patriot. I don't know why I say Patriot. Masked Patriot. We're kind of building to a, hey, this is going to be a four-way tag team match coming up here. Or at least these three tag teams are going to compete to take on the champions. After that, the Pain Alliance came out and said, hey, what about us? And Faith and Old Glory said, we'll take care of them because they're not at all involved in this. So Faith and Glory get the win over the Pain Alliance there. Mikey Lau comes out with Jack Bruce and says, hey, Brandon James, you might have beat me last night at the pay-per-view or last week at the pay-per-view, but I want a rematch. Brandon James comes out and says, I'll fight you next week. So we're going to pre-book for Supreme TV, and that's a good segment rating, so that's great. Then we got School to Bones. Des Davids comes out and says to him, hey, you cheated. Lenny Brown said, I did not. He said, here, look at the Titantron. Look at the screen. And it shows School to Bones cheating for Lenny Brown. Lenny tells Des Davids he'll give him a rematch at Nothing to Lose, which is our next pay-per-view. So we'll pre-book that right now. Des Davids versus Lenny Brown for the North American title. And then he awkwardly tells School to Bones, you're not my manager anymore because we have bad chemistry. No, because you cheated and I'm not a cheater. So School to Bones is going to have to deal with that. It's all chaos backstage right now as the Bumfuls just had some hot Bumful on Bumful action, and they're just brawling backstage because basically Randy blames ZWB for his loss in the pay-per-view match where he took the pin from Rocky Golden. Speaking of really good matches, holy cow, Crippler. Rocky Golden defends his title against the Crippler in an 85 overall match. I think Rocky Golden's just on fire right now. So he wins. The Crippler, after a commercial break, is seen walking around backstage angrily because he didn't win his match, and he's throwing stuff, and Angry Gilmore kind of gets in his face, and they start going. And as they start rumbling, Atom Smasher is there drinking his atomic coffee, and they bump into him, and he spills his coffee. And so he's angry, so it turns into a three-way brawl, which is our new storyline. It started with Atom Smasher spilling his atomic coffee. In a beatdown angle where Rogue and Remo decide they're going to beat up Valiant because he's the one good guy in this Devil's three-way. Joey Morgan beats Hollywood Bret Starr in a rematch of the pay-per-view match. I wanted to give Joey the win back. 50-50 booking, as always. And then an angle where Rocky Golden, seen leaving the building after his title win, gets attacked by Scythe and Joe Spooky, and they beat him up pretty good in the parking lot. And that's how we're going to end our show. Successful show, popular in 12 regions. I don't know what this one region thing is still. I'm going to figure that out at some point. But yeah, not a bad show, if I do say so myself. We got a 3.44 rating, so with 2.5 million people watching. Robbie Wright did sprain his ankle, but I think it's going to be a minor injury. We can look for sure. Sprained ankle, can only work angles for 6 days. Not a big deal, and he's not super important to our process right now anyway, so that's okay. If anything interesting happens, I'll let you know. Otherwise, we're going to move forward, and we're going to book the next show. Now that I'm not spending as much time showing you how I book the shows, I think we can make these episodes like 2 shows an episode or something like that. So we'll see how it works out. Okay, here we are at the next show. Nothing really crazy happened. Robbie Wright came back from injury, which I didn't even think about. 6 days. It's not even a full week, so he's already back if we need him. Backstage incident, we have the Crippler. He says he's willing to put over Maddie Faith. Yikes. Why, Crippler? Why? Speaking of Crippler, with that big match he had, did he... I mean, it was just on a regular show. Did that up his... I mean, he went down, so it's hard to say. It looked like it normalized him a little bit in the 66 range. Okay. So, we're going to book this show. We went to the Great Lakes last time. Let's do... I'm guessing Hawaii's the one that I'm not able to gain popularity in because it's an extremely small area. Let's do the Mid-Atlantic, Virginia Park Fields. And I'm going to book this show. And remember, I have this pre-booking. And, yeah, I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, I got the show all booked. Here we go, folks. First of all, we're still searching for that sweet, sweet fountain of youth that is tag team chemistry. And we haven't found it on any of these guys, but they put on a terrible pre-show match. But Primus Allen, believe it or not, carrying that match with a 67. That's pretty good. I'm pretty excited about that. We let the tag team champs defend their titles on the pre-show against the team that I'm looking for chemistry on. I didn't get it, but we got to start letting them defend the title. That's their first defense, even though it wasn't. It was on the pre-show. Not great, but that's fine. The show starts. We got Atom Smasher talking about how mad he is that they spilled his human growth hormone atomic coffee. That's bullshit. He's not happy about it. And that's really I kind of forgot I started a storyline with these three when I was booking the show, and I had to throw this in last second. It worked out well, though. Now we have our newest tag team, the New Legends, is what the auto-naming thing gave me that I liked. And they beat the Pain Alliance because everybody beats the Pain Alliance. Jungle Lord seemed off his game again, but it's probably because he's mad. I probably should improve his morale a little bit. But I kind of feel like this was a old school picture-in-picture thing. They showed backstage Spencer and Mainstream kind of just goofing on Jungle Lord and Chris Caulfield. Like, oh, Chris Caulfield wears an American bandana around his head. What an idiot. This guy dresses like George of the Jungle. What an idiot. Kind of just goofing on him, and that went well. An important wrinkle to this storyline between Remo, Rogue, and Valiant. Remo and Rogue seem like they are now in cahoots against Valiant. And Valiant was getting beat down again, but the future, Stephen Parker, came to save him. And I'm hoping that this will kind of boost Parker up into more of that star level where I think he belongs. And they got a similar look. They seem like they'd be good friends. So Stephen Parker entering his way, and this went from being a triple threat feud to kind of a 2-on-2 feud, which is my favorite. It's the Teddy Long. Play is what I like to call it. Up next, we have a triple threat tag team match, and the winner gets a shot at the tag team titles. The problem is they all went to a count-out draw. They turned into a wild brawl. Everybody got counted out. You can see where this is going. I've already kind of hinted that this is going to be a fatal four-way for the tag team titles at the pay-per-view, but we gotta build it. We gotta get there. And so these guys, and actually a decent quality match for one that ended in a draw. Crowds usually hate when matches end in draws. We have basically Hollywood and Joey Morgan kind of just going back at each other, back and forth, microphone-wise, entertainment-wise. They're 1-1 in their matches. Hollywood thinks Joey cheated the last time. You know, that kind of heel bullshit. Lenny Brown defends his title for the first time and against John Greed, and he wins despite the fact that at one point Skull the Bones tries to interfere for him and accidentally hits. So the Skull the Bones Lenny Brown thing is still going, and afterwards they have an interaction, an altercation, no fighting, but basically Lenny says, "Hey man, I told you you're not my manager. Stay away. You're causing more harm than good." And they got a really high rating, so this is good for Lenny right now. We have Scythe fighting ZWB. Randy Unleash interferes, causing ZWB to lose. And then post-match, Rocky Golden makes the save for ZWB. I didn't include him in there because Randy and ZWB kind of went off on their own brawl, but Rocky's going to get his revenge for the other week with Joe Spooky and Scythe. So there we go there. And then the rematch that we pumped up last week between Mikey Lau and Brandon James, and Mikey Lau gets the W this time, and cleanly. But Brandon James doesn't think so, but we'll get to that next week, I suppose. So again, not a bad show. Not as good as the last show. It's 1 point lower, so we only gained in 6 regions. It's still given this restricted to the audience size thing. It's got to be Hawaii. Even though I've never had that before, that must be a new thing. Or it's a thing that was going on, but there wasn't a message for it, because that happens sometimes, and then they go, oh shit, we should probably tell people that this is happening. 2 decent shows. We're getting somewhere. Let's go to the end of the month before we end this episode. Okay, so we reached the end of the month, and we finished first out of 2 in the American area battle, which is great. We're going to... something I want to do at the end of each month is look at our developmental territory and see how all the 3 shows a week they've been running or whatever is doing. So we're going to take a look at that. Wow, Avalanche is considered their biggest star. That makes sense, I guess. So here we go. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shows they've done. Ultimate Force, not a bad rating, and 59. The problem is it's only for 85 people, and they got to get more popular in New England. Oh, wait, no, we should start at the first one, which was Notability. Wait, no, what? Oh, they've done a lot more shows than that. I'm dumb. Reach for the Sky, week 1. 46 overall show. Forrest Rasloff still the champ. Got some decent developmental things going on here. Damage Inc. You're going to see the show get way bigger suddenly because, 1, this is when I added a bunch of people, and 2, they're just not 2. There's no 2. They're basically just going to try and get as many people on the show as possible. And that's when Avalanche comes in. And Avalanche, it's going to be interesting because he was pegged as like having a high Destiny stat, but he's a terrible worker. So Brian Jewett, still the USA champion. Forrest Rasloff. Ernest Youngman could start carrying Rip real fast. He's a very good worker, and he probably will be on the main roster sooner than later. Ooh, back down to a 47. This one wasn't as good. Ultimate Force at 59. Ooh, a 40. Yikes. We're 3-ring circus product, so like our top 3 matches matter. They're all about the main event. So if the main event isn't as good like this, it is going to tank their show rating. Even though Ernest Youngman and Gary the Entertainer put on a 63. See, again, if they would have switched these, they need to start putting Ernest Youngman in the main event because he's going to carry the company. It doesn't matter. Anything they get over like a 30 is going to like raise their popularity. See, that one's a little better. And then their most recent show was a 52. Look at that, a 74. Holy cow. See, Youngman's not far. He's getting... that was his 74 performance. And DeSosa's got some overness, so that's why that's going to work for him. The goal with this is, right now, they put on a little amount of shows. New England's going to... They went up 2 points in New England, and then they have spillover into these other areas. The goal eventually is to get them on a broadcaster, meaning we make our own broadcaster and just put them on it. And that way, when guys come up to the main roster, they're like in the 40s to 50s overness in the whole USA. And that, I mean, it seems cheap, but it's probably the way to go if you really want. If you want your developmental to kind of mimic what NXT is doing in real life, that's what you need. You need them on television. Anyway, let's just check creative, see if there's any hidden gems that I like. All these guys are okay. Franchise players are still where they're at. Next big things. Lenny being there. That's good. That's good. I haven't had him on there in a long time. Angry Gilmore, not a lot of momentum. That's not good. Okay. So anyway, we're going to end this episode. Wait, we lost money last month. How? Oh. That's because I spent all that money on making our training facilities top notch. Like if we look at finance, we spent $8 million on training. And that's not an expense we're going to spend this month at all. So based on this, we should make a profit next month. Yeah, definitely. Okay. That freaked me out for a second, but I forgot I've only done 1 month so far, so that's why we had all those costs up front. We do have a $3.5 million worker bill, but that's okay. That'll be all right. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.